It is indeed a pleasure to have this privilege to play here for you. We intend to give you a very fine program, so just settle back, relax, and enjoy the moment.
1, 2. Mic check, mic check. Oh, I sound so low. How y'all doing? Can you hear me? Mic check. Good morning, Megzy. Don't it sound like I'm very sleepy? I sound sleepy in my head. I'm actually well rested. A little like good morning. I know it's like getting to Christmas, so I don't even know how like my viewership is gonna be these next couple. What's up, Whiskey Knee? Good to see you. Happy holidays, fam. What up, Joy? Hey. Okay. I was like, I don't know. As we approach Christmas, as we approach the holiday season, I know that people are just doing their thing, including me, doing my thing locally with the left and right Twix. But it's just like the news doesn't stop. If yesterday and last night was any indication, the news don't stop though. The news don't be like, oh, it's Christmas. And also too, in all seriousness, our educators and whatnot, they know this is like, not our educators, lawmakers and people with influence, they know this. But anyway, good morning. Hey, Christy, good to see y'all. I'm good. No makeup meek, at least, yeah, no makeup meek, but I'm so, like, there's just so much that I have to hurry up and get through at 8:15 or around 8:15-ish. We will be having a call-in guest. The SightSee fam is gonna call in. I got the Bluetooth hooked up. I got the phone right here. So I'm gonna have them call in traditional. Just call in and talk to us about. We know that we've been talking about it here. SightSee has been very vocal, and I'm so proud to see a local business stand in opposition of some potentially disastrous local citywide policy proposals, otherwise known as the business investment district, business improvement districts. And I got a little bit more information. Well, I've got a little different take or some other information on that. I wanted to find something that was rooted in like maybe a black struggle at the grassroots level. So I found something from about 2015 that I think still holds weight, but I'm not gonna hold you. Let me switch this up real quick. I ain't gonna hold you. So if you got the newsletter this morning, you saw that I prioritize education. Got to get to this. This will be the bulk of the conversation today will center education. Specifically, there was a clip that I watched where shout out to local organizers circulating a petition. I didn't know about this petition. Joy, if you knew about it, put me on game. But I think I got the broad strokes from the news. Let me go ahead and do this. I think there's one clip I had to take out. Let me see. One clip. Yeah, right here. Take that out. But let me see. Did I find it here? Yeah, there's a petition going around. I think Riley Benson did the story about it. If it's not here, then I'll find it wherever I read it. It might have been Live 5 News. I can't keep people straight. But, I saw the comments that Darren Goss made about, the petition and how folks don't have it right. And what I wanted to do is push back and not to turn Darren into a villain, right? But I want to, okay, cool. Yeah, and I still, so the news position is as if Justin, well, they talked about Justin and they talked about the racial action network. So they tried to talk about different people involved, but Stand as One took up, like they focused on Stand as One. So that's why I wanted to get some clarity on that. And I'm trying to find the clip I talked about. I think, let me see. Let me go back to Channel 2 News. Could have sworn I watched it on YouTube and not on the website. Let me see. Racial conciliation, low country donations, Omicron. Let me find it. I don't believe it was Live 5, but we'll find it. But I wanted to push back specifically on something that Darren said. He one thing that people in power like to do is they like to this was subtle. It was subtle, right? So I'm not, again, trying to turn him into a bully or a villain. I don't need to turn him into a caricature. I just need to outline to you the interests and the conflicts of interest, that have, here we go, petition. It was Channel 5 News. Yeah, Live 5. Thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah, right on time. Soon as I saw it in the chat, I saw it popped up. I'm like, I know I watched it. So yeah, we're gonna revisit that, and something that Darren said. We got time. Let me go ahead and play it right now. Let's play it right now while we wait for the homie from SightSee to join us. Yeah, it was.
This is your home. This is your family.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on.
/gym. The guest bedroom.
Community groups are organizing against a proposal aimed at helping schools in the Charleston County School District that are falling behind. Creators of a new petition say that proposal is a path to privatization. Nick Reagan has both sides.
Nick Reagan, not Riley Benson.
A battle is brewing between several community organizations and the Coastal Community Foundation over their latest proposal aimed at helping some struggling schools in the Charleston County School District.
I didn't know, Joy.
CCF presented the Reimagined Schools initiative to the school board on December 13th for the first time. They're asking the board to set aside $32 million for around 20 schools over the next 10 years to transform them into schools of innovation, which just means that they can apply to be exempt from certain state requirements. Reimagined Schools would create a community group that would determine the best model for these schools and then help them get back on track and open them up to additional funding. That could mean those community groups could push for a private partner to run the schools in conjunction with the school board, but it doesn't have to by any means. Opponents say that this is a door to privatization. CCF says the petition organizers misunderstand the proposal.
Doesn't matter how much money the Coastal Foundation got, you're trying to privatize our district because of the development that's coming to the area. This thing is all about money. It's all about money. And no, we're not going to privatize our district. What you need to do, give us what we need to educate our kids in our district, and then we'd be just fine.
The real word is public-private partnership.
So right here,
which I think is confusing. And because we use the word public-private. So
it's subtle. It's subtle. And this is, I really want to emphasize this for folks who subscribe to this content, and I mean that in two ways. Like, you subscribe in terms of your support, and you subscribe to, okay, you get kind of some of the things that we're trying to talk to from this left-leaning perspective. Don't ever let any major power brokers lead a conversation with, I think they've got it confused. And again, this is very subtle, but all too often, these big multi-million-dollar funds or foundations, which are just as capitalistic as GE, Coke, Ford, and that's what CCF is, right? We're no longer under the illusion that CCF is this wholesome, foundation. We know that not to be true. Like, we've known that for years. But we know that now more than ever, especially with them becoming more and more of a prominent figure within education, even though that they haven't proven that they need to be in this space, right? But never let someone with this power and this influence tell you that you've got the details wrong, or that your emotional response to proposed legislation or proposed policy, don't ever let them tell you that what you're feeling intuitively, what you're feeling, instinctively is wrong. All right. Darren can't tell you, the parent, the community member, the grassroots activist, the leader, the advocate, whatever you are, the parent, whatever. Darren cannot tell you that you've got it wrong. And what he's also trying to do is he's trying to divorce the word privatization. What we do know about, we're going to get into this after the call-in, right? We're going to help, and y'all help me out too. I got my real copy of The Wolf at the Schoolhouse Door. Right? There's two copies. There's the lost copy that arrived months after Nicole bought it for me, gifted it to me, and then there's the one that I actually started reading and have tabs all the way up and through. I got about halfway through the book. I did not complete it, but I got halfway through. And I'm proud of myself because there's so much stuff that I have to read just to hit live, right? But I'm gonna try to pull some things from here, but we're gonna chill with this. They're responding to a word thing. Even if people are, it's just as valid as any other well-crafted policy paper. It's a valid response, right? Megsy in the chat, you just dropped. That's funny you say that, Mika, because a bunch of people in last night's council meeting were saying that people didn't understand how bid worked. They kept me. You remember that, right? I wanted to ask SightSee about. Yeah, cool. So hopefully we'll get a chance to do that. I have a hard out at 10 because I have an appointment. But this is dope, right? Very good. Oh, Justin, you said in a very good morning, Reverend Glover, breaking that down, right? Succinctly. Yep. Let me let this play.
I think privatization becomes a part.
Let me rewind it.
What you need to do, give us what we need to educate our kids in our district, and then we'd be just fine.
The real word is public-private partnership, which I think is confusing. And because we use the word public-private, I think privatization becomes a part of the discussion, and we're not trying to privatize schools whatsoever.
Okay.
Now the school board is set.
So what they are trying to do, so he says, we're not trying to privatize schools whatsoever. Cool. We're not trying to privatize schools whatsoever. Yes, they are. So the hybrid model, schools of innovation, will ultimately lead to school privatization. You can't say that, Darren. Darren, you can't say that when you're helping to co-write legislation with Ben Navarro, the founder of Meeting Street Academy, Meeting Street Schools, whatever it is, right? Like, you cannot say that deadpan, straight face, bald face, literally because he shaved his facial hair off. Bald face, like, you cannot say that. And we have to start looking at this charter, public-private charter. And so what it made me do, so before I was blessed to meet Joy and Honor and a bunch of people, before I even got engaged deeply with people with PhDs like Dr. John Hale and whatnot, before I really started digging and trying to read books and learn about this effort, I had already I had a conversation with another friend of mine in New Jersey, and I jumped into Diane Ravitch, her work, and so we're going to revisit. That's where I started noticing certain trends here in Charleston with the nonprofit industrial complex playing an outsized role in shaping our public education policy, and you'll start seeing some of those words. So they're being fast and loose. They're playing fast and loose with language in an attempt to confuse you and to also tell you, oh no, you don't have the good grasp of this issue. I did have it up right here. You don't have a good grasp of this issue, and you do. So we're going to revisit a little bit of Diane Ravitch. I don't know how y'all feel about her and her work. But last year she had a book that came out. I did not read it yet. I haven't checked it out the library yet. Slaying Goliath, right? And it's all about the preservation to save America's public schools. And she was in the Bush administration as the deputy director with education under Bush, right? So No Child Left Behind. And I remember I remember listening to Terry Gross in NPR years back. And saying, she's like, no, we got this wrong. No Child Left Behind was a mess. And Diane was vocal about it as they started to see the results. So I wanted to start there and then work it back. But part of what she's been writing about, part of what she's been vocal about, does coincide with what you'll read if you do check out the book, if you use your library card and check out A Wolf at, can't see it with all the glare, A Wolf at the Schoolhouse Door. Let me see what y'all saying in chat. Oh, you got a copy of Slaying Goliath? Okay, look at you. All right, here y'all go with that bullshit call. Somebody did that last night, made me laugh. Christy, cool. Let me see, Joy, you said in the written article, Mr. Goss says they're not trying to privatize schools whatsoever, then goes literally to define privatization. So this is the thing, and I want to look this up. I'm waiting and call. I'm saying you feel free to call in because we got to stay tight. Yeah, my neighbor is bugging. I don't know what they building up there, but okay. All right. Good morning. Hold on. Okay. Good morning, Joel. Hey, hold on 1 second. Oh, hold up. I don't hear you on Bluetooth. Hold on. We gotta set it up. I heard the ring, but I didn't hear. Let's see. Yeah. All right. Say it one more time.
What's that?
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good. All right. I sound all right? You sound great.
Oh, no, yeah, you sound amazing. Thumbs up in the chat. I'm going to ask people. I know you can't see the chat right now, but I'm going to ask people to thumbs up if you can hear Joel okay. I have the volume turned all the way up on both the phone and the pad. So just, just so we can do a little sound check, go ahead and introduce yourself to the listening audience and the viewing audience.
Yeah, for sure. My name is Joel Sadler. I own SightSee shop along with my wife. It should be very pointed out. You would probably not be surprised how many folks, predominantly male but male and female, express surprise when Allison tells them that she is in fact the owner.
Right.
And that's just the time we live in. So I definitely am at best half of SightSee.
Okay. I put you down as a co-owner because I know Allison is definitely in the mix. So hopefully I didn't get that wrong. I should have.
No, you're right.
Okay.
You're right.
Okay. Because I definitely did not want to erase her for sure. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think people are very excited to hear from you. I want to say first and foremost, for those who don't know, this is like my first time talking to Joe. Like, no, I came in during the pandemic to get like one cup of coffee.
Yeah. And we didn't have matcha. That was a real letdown.
Yeah, I was like, man, I'm not coming. No, I'm joking. No, but Joel, yo, like seriously, if it's not Blake, if it's not, I don't even want to start rattling off people's names. So many people who I really respect. I'm talking about Blake Suarez. So many people I really respect and admire. And people who I guess we don't all have to agree on everything, but people who are, I guess, more so aligned with what we're trying to do here in Charleston, which is make it accessible for people who live here, regular folks. So many people in my gravity love y'all, love y'all. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, we appreciate that, and there's a good chance we love them too.
Yeah, no, so I ramble a lot sometimes when I queue up a question or whatever, but I was just trying to say, like, everyone loves y'all, and as it pertains to recent news, especially around the business improvement district proposals, people were really excited to hear what you all. I know you can't speak again. We're not taking away Allison's agency, but we're excited to see or hear from you in terms of what you feel about what happened last night and your crusade. But let me rewind it back. Let me rewind it back a little bit. Tell me how this bid situation came on your radar.
Do you mind if I rewind it further back to just offer a little bit of context about us? This is going to go a little too far back, and if it's too much information, just cut me off.
Okay.
But the thing I want to acknowledge about us is that we have not been in this game forever. Mm-hmm. I, for the majority of my adult life, I was just like a nice white progressive person who assumed that I was part of the solution without actually doing anything. Just my sheer benevolence was and attempting to be aware and whatnot. I think back to anyway. Without going into too much detail, I was your run of the mill progressive nice white person, and I want to just I would never want anybody to think that like we're OG been in this fight forever. That the incident, the moment of I don't know the right word to use it, but the George Floyd moment was significant to us, and it was the response from white people. It seemed to like all of a sudden everybody realized, wait a minute, there's a problem here. Which was no surprise to anybody that had been working up until that time. And we were one of those people. And we just decided we can't stop. That it was very much in the moment to like post stuff and yell and whatnot. But we like went in deep. And to your analogy earlier about the David versus Goliath, I think that it's difficult to have read that story about race and put yourself in the role of David, and then realize that you have been Goliath this whole time. And it is jarring to your worldview, and it takes some real work and humility to kind of like absorb that and act out of that. And that's what we undergone. And then in the time since, it's just, I mean, I don't know, there's terms for it that I don't like necessarily, in terms of like, we have done the work, quote unquote, on ourselves. Like, you know, we've read all the books that people rattle off. Many of them we've read twice. All the podcasts you can think of, down to the point where like it's gotten dark at times, just fully appreciating our position in the system, and then just doing our best to do something about it. And the scary thing is that every time, I think the reason that a lot of folks don't, I should say one reason is out of a fear of doing it wrong, or like overstepping or saying the wrong thing, or like despite your best intentions, you don't realize a blind spot you had until after the fact. And then you're like, fuck, if I had just like kept my mouth shut, then nobody would know who I am, and nobody would be poking fun at, or like, you said this, but you didn't say it the right way. And so we have decided just to keep doing stuff, knowing full well that we're going to do it wrong eventually. Like, we are going to earn what I hope is constructive criticism from the community. But anyway, sorry to take it all the way back, but that's the context, is that we acknowledge that we are new, and we acknowledge that we are going to make mistakes, but we are trying not to allow that fear to prevent us from taking any action that we can, based on kind of what we may be in a better position to do than others.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Ann, go ahead.
Go. No, you go ahead.
Okay. No, I think that was helpful, that what you just offered up, and I want to just let people give them a little peek behind. Again, we have not exchanged, massive amounts of communication. Literally can count on one hand how many times I think we've exchanged text messages. But just so folks know, is that I felt that. I felt much of what Joel just described in even our initial conversations. And so, as someone who's been in this situation, or been in this work for a little bit, right, myself, I recognize that, okay, they're on the journey. They're on that very familiar journey to me of where I have my white friends or accomplices, or co-conspirators in my life, who are really digging into the work, and I can hear that. And I want to say that I acknowledge that. And for those who are watching, and I don't mean this in any like creepy surveillance way, but those who are watching SightSee and how they show up for their community publicly, I want you all to please, not saying look and learn, because I don't think Joel invited that, but I would say it would be productive, or I think it's useful to watch how SightSee models what it looks like to advocate from their position about things that impact them, yes, but that have ramifications for the larger whole. So yeah, they're small business owners, but they're also community members, right? So I think that's helpful. Now, I want to give you a little bit of, I don't give out cookies and gold stars to white folk. I don't do that. But what I do is acknowledge what you've done, and let you know that folks in the chat also have acknowledged what you've been doing. And I will say this, Joel, and you're not asking for a leadership role at all, but on the most recent issue, you spoke about the racial reckoning that wasn't, I'm just going to say it like that, the racial reckoning that wasn't during the summer, that erupted here in the form of rebellion during the summer of 2020, following the extrajudicial killing of George Floyd. We saw a lot of movement. We saw a lot of people, like you said, perform wokeness, or perform some sort of like allyship with Black folk in the liberation struggle. But then now, fast forward, we've seen not just economic policies, but almost policies from all angles kind of come up and basically contradict or work against all of the things that we were trying to work toward during the summer of 2020. so it kind of manifested. I think this bid is kind of a prime example of all these bullshit policies that have popped up, and you're not asking for a leadership role, but you all have kind of like, hey, this thing is not really good for us. This is going to have this could have disastrous implications. Tell me what informed your decision to at least post about the bids and be active about this one specific issue.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that this zooming into this particular issue, it's like you just described. It is like the perfect storm of everything else that we have resisted and spoken up against. I don't mean Biz SightSee, but I mean the community. Yeah, it is it's just kind of the perfect storm of all of that, and and it seemed like no one, and I mean like literally, it seemed like no one, and I know that's false, but
I understand.
With our radar, no one on our radar was expressing opposition to it. Mm-hmm. Even folks that I know would express opposition if they had done research into what a bid really means. And so it was like, I don't know. I don't have time for this. Like, this is crunch time for SightSee. We're, as much as we're a coffee shop or a retail store, I'm just trying to get through what has been like a really difficult year. And here I am on a Friday before Christmas. And it's just like, we can't not do this or we're going to miss it, because I watched the 12/7 city council meeting, and I was like, anybody that wants to engage the bid must watch that session.
Yes.
It was like, you never get a chance to be in the room with those folks when they don't think you're in the room.
Yep.
And that council session was like so eye-opening. It was a victory lap. And the who's who were just like waxing poetic about how their forefathers, their predecessors, would have been so proud of them for doing this. And it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but some of those are like direct quotes.
Can I say this? So can I hope, and I never said this to you, but like, so you engaged me. Like you supported the fundraiser, the hoodie fundraiser. So shout out to you for that. But so you made your purchase, and then like you sent the message through the and this is a good thing. I'm not laughing at you. I'm delighted. And so I'm seeing Joel have the same reaction I had. Now we watched it a little bit here on the live stream. And I was like, wait a minute. Wait, ain't that this? Like, this is who? This is this person. This is that billionaire interest. This is that millionaire's interest. And like, I'm just pointing them out. I'm like, what the? And you had almost like the same reaction. Oh yeah. And it came through like, I'm like, yes, I got a purchase. And I'm like, oh, what's this paragraph? But exactly. But no, you're right. And you don't understand how like lonesome it feels like sometimes to talk ad nauseum about some of these folks, and I'm not going to, drop every name or nothing like that right now during this conversation, but it feels lonesome sometimes when you know that this is going to be a tidal wave of just plain old greedy fuckery that's going to manifest, if not more immediate, maybe later down the road. But like, it's lonely when you are like screaming that the sky is falling and no one believes you. And yeah, I don't know. I felt that through your message. That is what you just said is a really good way to put it about the screaming at the sky falling and nobody believes you, because it's kind of like, how do you truly express what this means without people thinking you are sensationalizing or like making a bigger deal out of it than it should be? It's like, I don't know how to say this in a way that does not alarm you into like hiding, but at the same time, like convinces you to act, because it's like that. But anyway, So we watched that, and
have had some. I should say, a former bid proponent. In like a decade ago, I was involved at the early stages in like encouraging the community, providing opportunities to evangelize to the community in another city about the benefit of a bid. And it falls under just the like, you know, I can appreciate when folks hear clean and safe or enhanced services or pick up trash and they don't make the connection, because that's been me in the past. You know, when you hear those words, they don't explicitly say exclude Black people from these public spaces and kick the unhoused, you know, further away. That's not what you hear. You just hear these positive things. And if you only allow yourself to kind of sit within your comfortable white space, it's just, you know, it's a great idea. Let's do a bid. It's a business. It's literally a business improvement district. Who can argue with that? And but in the time since, I have come to realize that the like real world impact of bids is very negative to the same folks that are always having public policy that has a negative impact on them.
Yeah.
It just accelerates it, and kind of like, anyway, so I guess the conversion to a bid, the thing that's so easy about bids is it's not like you have to be a scholar. Just literally Google business improvement district gentrification. Just do that. And you all of a sudden are like, you know, at a 201 level compared to the other folks, the folks on council, at least at that time. And so it's easy to do. And when you see the likes of the folks that were in that room, patting each other on the back, it just throws up all sorts of alarm bells. And then you just got to think, well, what can I do at all? And it was like, well, I know who we are as SightSee. I know that we have had the opportunity, and it has been productive in the past, to translate things that we care about into visuals and words that make it clear for folks how they can take action themselves. And so we're like, let's do it. My food is going to get cold while I'm doing this. But we're gonna put this out there. And again, like I don't know if it might be a lost cause. We might be screaming into the void. You just kind of like, you sweat that you haven't typoed or like said the wrong thing, or somebody looks at it and they're like, this person obviously didn't do their research, but. Right. That was kind of like the immediate moment,
I think that paralysis by analysis, to borrow from an old phrase, that sometimes that white folk or people, non-Black POC that are like maybe more privileged or what have you, but I think that paralysis or that fear sometimes can lead to paralysis. And it sounds like I was going to type something in the chat, but I decided to just say it. It sounds like you're constantly interrogating your own complicity in white supremacy, and that's very important for people like you all over at SightSee to do. And I'm happy that it moved you to at least vocalize your opposition, and also lead you to find useful information to help undergird your argument in opposition to it. And you said something very helpful for me, at least. This space is not about coddling white folk. Like I keep it real, but at the same time, this is not a rigid leftist space where if you say the wrong thing, and I know that you're trying, not know that you're trying to engage in jargonism, but if I know you're trying to literally affect change and you just get it wrong, this is a space where we will like lovingly like wrap you up. It might not be comfortable, but this is a space of loving accountability. And so I want to, again, not coddling, not holding hands, not going.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. I think what's important for people to understand is that at some point you just got to either, shit or get off the pot when it comes to this stuff. And if it's not a SightSee, if it's not fill in the blank business, then who else could it be? Who else will it be? I want to ask a very pointed question. And just so you know, I want to give us a little wrap time about 8:45.
Okay, cool.
Only because I have a hard out at 10. But I wanted to ask you, and you don't have to implicate anyone like that. I'm saying this name, not Joel, for clarity, everyone. I am saying this. Because there is no other body that I know. Last night during City Council, we heard Carol Jackson say that she looked forward to Low Country Local First kind of facilitating a conversation around what this means, what the bids might portend for local business owners. Has there been anything like a Low Country Local First who have engaged you, maybe discreetly? And again, not to say you have to say any names, but have you been reassured or led to believe that other larger entities who advocate for small businesses here in Charleston, have you gotten a sense that they're engaged in this fight or that they understand the risks of a bid?
If I had to choose only one of two words with no additional explanation, yes or no, I would have to say no. But I don't have whatever that word is.
Yeah, omniscient.
Thank you. I would say we are disappointed.
Yeah, I'm with you with that. I think that's the word I used last night. I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a topic that we have thought, Allison and I have thought a great deal about and could talk about at length, but it would be wholly unproductive to do that.
No, and
I
think that might be over like pizza or beers or something. I think we need to prime that up because I've said this over and over again. And I'm going to say this, y'all. If people don't like me being cautious around this, I don't care. But like I am in community with people at LLF, and I do have tremendously deep feelings for people, and I know that they are people and they are not the organization. However, I really do, and I'm saying this not Joel. I really wanted organizations of that ilk to pretty much play the role that SightSee is playing. That's just me talking to y'all. But yeah. I'm just really.
I think it was fascinating to hear the things. I suppose it was yesterday morning that you were saying on this topic, because we have never talked about that together whatsoever. But to hear you talk, it sounded like you had been in the room with me and Allison quite a bit.
Yeah. Nah, that's the space I'm so happy to hear that, because again, it feels lonely, and I think that's why the Twitch peeps that really hang tough with me, I think that they too feel like, oh, someone's saying the things that I've been thinking and saying, and I'm well traveled. I've lived in 3 different states in my life. I've seen all types of policies enacted. I've worked in government. I've seen how some of this sausage is made, and I think what I've learned over the years is that our intuitions are our intuition is very honest with us, and so if we think it, if we feel it, it's probably true. Well, in the last 5 minutes, I wanted to just give you the floor and just like if you want to lift up anything or speak to, if there's anything you're working on, if you want to engage people or about bids or anything you've learned just in conversation with Allison or with other local residents. Is there anything you want to leave with folks, or you have the floor?
Yeah, gosh, thank you. I may wish I had said something different after the fact, but the thing that I feel compelled to say right now is that we don't want to be the only business doing this.
Yeah.
And I know we're not completely the only one. There are a lot of businesses that do things behind the scenes, or in other ways. But we believe that this is how business in Charleston need to operate. That it is difficult, it's confusing. I mean, like, Monday we posted just whose city is this, and then the next day we posted Allison with her like gift recommendations from the shop, and that's jarring and it's awkward, and like I know businesses are like, I don't want to speak out and then turn around and be like, and we have this new natural wine we want you to try. but that's just, it's just what you have to do. I guess if I could try and say this well, we believe that the money that we make and our ability to operate in Charleston, that Charleston would be nothing without Black people. Mm-hmm. And so we think we don't believe this. We believe that it is part of operating a business in this town to behave the way that we are in Charleston, and we don't want to be the only ones with that true north set. And we have not been great. It's awkward and it's difficult to like reach out to other businesses and even friends. It's a hard thing, but our hope is, and I would encourage it, the reason I'm saying this is anybody listening, if you're able to chat with those businesses that you have friends or connections with and encourage them to use their platform, to risk using their platform to make more statements and support this movement, I would encourage you to do that as well. And it is our hope in the new year, if we have with the time that we have available, that at the next city council meeting, it's not just SightSee, and at the one after that, it's even more. Right. And so forth.
Yeah. So what I always rely upon the reporting in the next morning, the reporting on city council next morning to help me understand what I just watched, even though I live streamed it for 3 hours and 18 minutes last night. But what's up next for this proposal? Like, to your understanding, is it another reading? I can't remember. Pardon me.
That was the huge success of last night, is that it wasn't that we weren't trying to get like an up or down vote or kill the bid or anything. There just had been zero consideration among city council that there was anything negative to safeguard against about the bid. And we heard multiple city council people say things that to one degree or another were almost verbatim the things that folks had written and called in about. And it caused attention to be shifted from how can we get this bid passed to we need to revisit this bid and the impact that it's going to have on Charleston. And that is thanks to the people that reached out and made it happen. And so we just have to keep an eye on that and keep showing up to voice this kind of thing anytime it pops up on the agenda again.
Man, let me tell you something. I really do hope that we talk soon. I hope that we, you and I and Allison and whomever's in the family, in the SightSee family, I really do hope that we can. I know Omicron is being a hater right now and messing up a bunch of stuff. But y'all been through this before. Y'all be outside with your customers. I've seen y'all do your thing and adapt to the.
Yeah.
So my point, I guess, my sloppy way of saying, like, I really would love to have this conversation, continue this off the mic, and just continue this conversation to help. Like maybe this is part of us trying to get other businesses. And even like we've seen people like even on, and I'm gonna say this before I really jam myself up with time, but like we saw within that bid proposal, people who were not just on King Street engaged to advocate for the bid. So why couldn't other Charleston area businesses who aren't on King Street, also who aren't even on the peninsula, why couldn't they advocate as well? So I think you've already modeled that because you're not on King Street, right? Like, so
no, we're not. Right.
And so hopefully we can start. Y'all know the businesses we like. Y'all know and Joel, you probably got a call from my homegirl Mackenzie. Like I'm trying to use just to help support the fundraiser, of course, but more so that's what I want to do. I want to have my friends who have a little bit more of a finesse reach out to other people and that might be like-minded, and let's start having this conversation. So I think we can have that conversation, and I look forward to doing that, Joel.
Absolutely. And if I could have just 30 seconds, I want to say something to you. I just want to thank you for, and this is not blowing smoke. Like I genuinely want to thank you for doing what you do day in and day out. I know it's difficult. I know that you have to deal with pushback and comments that folks on the outside just don't have visibility into and cannot imagine what that experience is like. And I know that it will feel like you're shouting into the void, but I can't count the number of times over the last year and a half that I have listened to things that you have said and had my perspective changed, and the way in which I take the next steps in what we're doing at SightSee have been directly influenced by that. And I've never, it's not like I message you or anything every time that happens. I just need you to know that we're not lurkers, we're students. And your lessons don't fall on deaf ears, even if you don't hear that every time.
Oh man, that really made me feel good. Thank you. No,
yeah, it's true. It's true.
Nah, and you're getting a lot of love in the chat. It's just like, I appreciate that. For real, seriously. It feels lonesome, even though I have this amazing community here, and I know people like you exist. It feels good to hear that, especially when just constantly being written out of news and not included. It really, yeah. It makes me, I appreciate that. I'm gonna go on and on, but yo, let's keep talking. Let's keep texting. And look, I'm a very random person. You probably already assessed that. Like, if I got time, if I'm thinking about something, I'm gonna shoot you a text or whatever. Reply at your leisure. But let's keep this conversation going.
I would really, speaking for myself and Allison, we'd really love that.
Let's do it.
So thank you so much.
Oh man, thank you, Joel. Thank you. Have a good morning.
You too.
All right, peace. Oh, that was awesome. Awesome. Oh man, yeah. Shout out to everybody who came in, who trickled in. If you didn't catch it from the top, you know how to do this. It won't be on YouTube immediately, but it will be up for replay on videos on demand on Twitch. Please check it out. I think that was really, really dope. Joel, I was working on Joel for a minute. Y'all know yesterday I said it too. I'm like, I invited him. Well, but part of the hesitancy was like, Joel was like, I don't want to take up too much space. I'm like, dude, I'm inviting you. It's not like you came unsolicited. Nah, but I love the El Cool J, you kind of referenced it, like that constant dealing with the unknowing and that learning curve. Like, I really do want white people to know, like, yo, this shit is gonna be uncomfortable. It's gonna be messy. You're gonna get called out. Like, no social justice work is without risk or without failure. And white folk who are trying to get in, who are watching, who are doing all the woke virtue signaling, but not necessarily engaged yet. Look at SightSee. That, I don't do allyship workshops and shit like that no more. But look at SightSee. They literally are just doing the best they can with what they have and not necessarily centering all of the powerful oppressive voices that tend to take up a lot of space in the room. You don't have to center the oppressors. We talk about this when we are talking about dismantling the carceral state, right? When we talk about abolitionist values, you don't have to include the cops. You don't have to center the oppressor when you're working toward change, toward real change. You can center the mom and pop. You can center, you can center, the people who are most affected by the policies. All right, let me go get it back. So like I said, I got a hard out at 10. Just want you to know your girl went to the dentist yesterday. Awkward segue. When the dentist and the hygienist tell you several times, you're doing a great job. Oh my God, no cavities? Oh my God, you're doing really well. We're just gonna polish. We don't even need to bring out this. Let me stop. No, but anyway, so I got another appointment today. It's time for the braces. But anyway, I was just so hyped. Anyway, I wanted to share that with y'all. Your girl talk a lot of shit, but the mouth is clean. All right. So if you got the newsletter this morning, awkward. I'm so awkward and weird. You want to be my friend? If you got the newsletter this morning, we about to dig into it right now. So I'm gonna watch it again. Let's watch it again. One more time. We're gonna watch it one more time. This is Darren Goss is included in this clip. This is about local action around education. I did want to. hold on. We're gonna get to education real quick. Let me wrap up the bid stuff. I'm sorry, I'm being sloppy talking about my teeth. Y'all don't care about my incisors. Y'all do not care about my molars at all. Let's we're not gonna be able to do a news roundup there. We definitely gonna hit this right here. But let's finish with the bids. So I found some things, not this, but if you want to like understand bids more, again, SightSee has, I believe they still have it in their bio, that Gotham article regarding gentrification and bids. And then I found this on JSTOR this morning. This is from 2015, so it's a little dated, and I'm gonna try to enlarge it as much as possible so that y'all can kind of see it as but this is from 2015. This is from, again, JSTOR, so this is a scholarly article. It says business improvement districts take over cities, $1, one vote, right? And I love this beginning abstract. I'm gonna make it let's see if I can, oh yeah, here we go. Again, this is from 2015. I'm gonna read it to you. All right, imagine a government where voting power is directly proportionate to the value of the property one owns. Where a majority ownership state gives one the right to appoint leaders, where small businesses and homeowners don't have a voice, and people without homes are exiled from the community. You might think that this is a dystopia still to come. After a few more Supreme Court decisions granting corporations even more rights as persons, right? But unfortunately, it's already a reality in hundreds of cities across the United States in so-called business improvement districts. Bids are private corporations governed by business property owners in a particular geographical region. They are chartered by state law and approved by local jurisdictions to take over many of the functions once served by local government. We talked about it yesterday, sub-municipal, right? Sub-municipal groups, right? And remember, no, city, I need you to take care of this. And like I asked the question last night, why would the city council and the mayor try to like neutralize their decision-making power and just deputize, to take a word from the other articles we read, to deputize these property owners, these developers, these investments, these hotel investment firms, the BMOC and Navarro? Why would you why would you undercut your own power and ability to legislate and just give it up? Well, part of the answer to the question is the mayor and other people on council are also business people, are also developers, who are also land and property owners. So they're not undermining their interests. They might be undermining their power, but they're definitely not undermining their own interests. And we look at the business owners and the lawyers and whomever, the muckety mucks on city council, and you'll understand that, right? So they're not technically shooting themselves in the foot the way that I think they are, but they are injuring our governing body, that is the city council, right? So, and that doesn't bode well for any fresh talent that we get in there. They're going to be even more like handcuffed to limitations, right? So I love the way this outlined it. I'm going to go a little bit more with it, right? I'm going to reread what I just read, okay? They are chartered by state law and approved by local jurisdictions to take over many of the functions once served by local government. Better street cleaning, trash removal, street signage, streetscape improvements. We saw all of that, y'all. And other maintenance tasks are part of the sales pitch. I love that language. What you saw on December 7th, what you saw last night is a sales pitch, okay? So, we're gonna beautify, we're gonna clean up, right? All that language we heard and we read in their presentation, right? Other maintenance tasks are part of the sales pitch bids make to cities to gain taxing power over commercial property within a district. Bids are also typically empowered to hire poorly trained, poorly paid security guards. We talked about this. They're gonna actually bring in like rent-a-cop, some Paul Blart bullshit ass, and you know how that's gonna go. You already know how that's gonna go for people of color, okay? Dress codes, all that shit, right? Poorly trained poorly paid security guards to push undesirable people out of the area. Look, I went to college. Y'all love when I keep talking about where I went to college. Y'all love this, right? Went to college in Jersey City. What does that mean? I'm a stone's throw away from New York. What does that mean? I went to school during Giuliani's reign of terror. What does that mean? That means I saw close up how they made homelessness and houselessness, housing insecurity, how they made that illegal, how they made hip hop in the park illegal. I've seen that, right? We talk a lot about stop and frisk that Bloomberg really said, went rampant on, but we don't talk enough about broken windows policing. And now they're going to deputize this bullshit ass mall cops to come around and harass people who don't belong, who's Helen Hill and Navarro and all these other business owners don't want on King Street. You feel me? And not just King Street, right? Not just King Street. Joni, good morning, Joni. You said this in the chat. What's up, Alvin? You said this in the chat. You said, and this is why all these business people moonlighting as politicians need to go. Seriously, especially if you a developer like Mayor Riley and Mayor Tecklenburg. Like we keep electing people who already kind of have conflicts. Like why? Like you have to ask people like when they start running for office, why are you running? And we really need to like really get to the root of that, right? Right, supposedly the criminal. Okay, so they're gonna get the criminal element out, but often poor and homeless people who aren't deemed good customers by big business. And I'm gonna leave it there because this piece right here, baby, that's why J-Star get off Google, y'all. Get you in some. And J-Star has like plenty of free. Either you can read it for free, or you can download with a subscription, or you can pay $200 a year, like I did a couple years ago. This neighbor upstairs is tripping. I'm gonna have to do a little couple knocks. All right, anyway, sorry. It's so distracting, it's so loud. I feel like the ceiling fan is gonna fall down. But anyway, I'm gonna read this more and more, but this pretty much confirms what was in the other article that I shared from Jared, that Jared looked up. So shout out to the homie again. Yeah. And Joy, that's exactly, you read my mind. Right? Very set up. It's the same thing. There's so many parallels between the bid and its aims and objectives and what it will literally lead to. There's so many parallels between that and the school privatization effort. So let me pop out of there. I wanted to tie up that bid. That article was really good when I read that first page. And I'm full disclosure, 6 pages. I just read the first 2. Like it got me, and I just said I gotta share this. But let's go ahead and transition now. Let's transition back and refresh people's memory about, again, this is what came out into this morning's newsletter. They underestimate us. Why did I say that? They underestimate us because Darren forgot one thing. I'm going to put this up first. Darren forgot one thing, that I read books and that y'all read books. And then now if y'all don't read books, y'all are still smart. Y'all have access to information, right? Right? Because we're going to decolonize learning and scholarship, right? We're going to make sure that we don't look at it through a white lens. But this is one of my favorite quotes from Septima Clark. All right? It's my belief that creative leadership is present in any community and only awaits discovery and development. Don't ever let somebody, especially somebody making $250,000 a year, and no shade to money earners out there. You go ahead, get your money, black man. Get your money, black woman. Get your money, people. But don't ever let a high mucky-muck who's actually currying favor, for billionaire interest and millionaire interest, don't ever let them tell you and condescend and look down their nose at you about what you don't and do understand about an issue that might be nuanced and complicated. But we're going to stop acting like people of color, poor people, or people who don't have all the credentials. We're going to stop acting like they don't know what the fuck they talking about, right? So here we go. We're going to play it from the tippy top.
Community groups are organizing against a proposal aimed at helping schools in the Charleston County School District that are falling behind. Creators of a new petition say that proposal is a path to privatization.
That's right.
Nick Reagan has both sides.
That's why they talking back, because they know it's true.
A battle is brewing between several community organizations and the Coastal Community Foundation.
Let me just say that they buck back too. They provide comment. They pop up. Because they know they know what we're saying is the truth. They know that. They know what we're saying is the truth. And that's why Darren even dignified the petition with a response, because he knows it's true.
Over their latest proposal aimed at helping some struggling schools in the Charleston County School District. CCF presented the Reimagined Schools initiative to the school board on December 13th for the first time. They're asking the board to set aside $32 million for around 20 schools over the next 10 years to transform them into schools of innovation, which just means that they can apply to be exempt from certain state requirements. Reimagined Schools would create...
It doesn't just mean that. I don't know why you said it like that, but think about that. Teachers don't need certification. We just said the bid would usher in low, poorly paid, poorly trained security to police. So what do you think that they're gonna do for schools? Poorly paid, poorly trained educators to babysit your children. Now, I use that word babysit on purpose because I don't really think they view this as much more as that. But look, listen to the parallels.
A community group that would determine the best model for these schools and then help them get back on track and open them up to additional funding. That could mean those community groups could push for a private partner to run the schools in conjunction with the school board, but it doesn't have to by any means. Opponents say that this is a door to privatization. CCF says the petition organizers misunderstand the proposal.
Doesn't matter how much money the Coastal Foundation got, you're trying to privatize our district because of the development that's coming to the area. This thing is all about money. It's all about money. And no, we're not going to privatize our district. What you need to do, give us what we need to educate our kids in our district, and then we'd be just fine.
The real word is public-private partnership, which I think is confusing.
It's not.
Because we use the word public-private, I think private.
It's not. It's not. It's not confusing. It's not confusing. Darren, we got it, Darren. Darren, we got it. Hey, Darren. Hey, we got it. We know. We know. We don't have to get pat on the head by a billionaire debt collector. We don't need that type of validation to know what we know. We're not confused with the jargon. And the fact is that you make these white papers so dense and you employ a lot of this jargon that you might not know what it is. And you might feel shame for ushering in policies or being an architect of policies that literally undermine the very people that look like you, that look like your mama, Darren. Right? You might feel a sense of shame. So now you feel the need to defend this shit. Right? You feel the need to defend this. Or you might be comfortable because you getting mad money. So you might feel comfortable just being the janitor, cleaning up the shit for the billionaires who are patting you on the head and letting you sit at the table, right? But we get it. Don't condescend to me. And I know. I'm like, insert the Jordan me. I took that personally. Like I don't know why that just got under my skin, because like there's a way to kind of come off like not an asshole, and I don't think he landed it. I don't think he landed it at all.
Privatization becomes a part of the discussion. And we're
gaslighting.
Not trying to privatize schools whatsoever.
Ooh.
Yeah, listen.
Gaslighting.
Yeah, listen.
I like that.
Yeah, listen.
Let's go. Ooh, what happened to Noah jokes? Noah used to make like really bad jokes. That was a good one.
Now, the school board is set to take up the Reimagined Schools proposal in a special meeting on January 10th. Reporting in downtown Charleston, Nick Reagan, Live 5 News.
Okay, so to that point, Joni, you like a co-producer today. I don't know, we just psychically linked. We just here. Because the next clip I wanted to pull up was a throwback. Again, like I said earlier, if you just joined, hey, what's up, what's up? But before I met people who are just impassioned by this fight to help to save public schools, y'all know my own personal story. That's what makes me sensitive to public schools and preserving public schools. I went to great public schools in Monmouth County, New Jersey growing up. Not perfect, but great public schools. Schools where the teachers knew my older brother and sister. Schools where, I had a lot of black male teachers, not just coaches, but teaching science and math and shit. Like I had a black male instructor as early as 4 years old, right? Like there was diversity. My classrooms were very diverse, and granted, now that was in the 80s and 90s. I get it. It was a long time ago, and even New Jersey public education has changed dramatically. But my point is, like, I was exposed to a solid public school education, at least foundationally, and that's what really politicized me. It's the singular most politicizing event in my life was attending 3 years of public high school in Charleston County. Right. And so I never lost that the curiosity to want to understand why shit was so bad here. And so I started to encounter voices like Diane Ravitch years ago, listening to Terry Gross, Fresh Air. And I didn't know about this book, and I have not read this book. I have not checked it out, nothing. But this book came out last year, and I think that the synopsis and the author hearing from her is important. We're going to start with the recent clip and maybe go back to an old clip from 2010, where she talks about why she was like not with No Child Left Behind when she was working within the Bush administration, and why she was speaking up even then. But let's play this book about her book called Slaying Goliath. That's hold on one second. Let me pause. Oh yeah, here we go.
The new book is out now, taking a critical look at the current state of public education in America.
I got you, Joni.
Goliath was written by a former U.S. Assistant Secretary of Education, and it lays out how both sides of the aisle are impacting the efforts. Okay, so she just the host just said it. Both sides of the aisle are, and even I got the book right here. I don't know why I'm looking like I don't know. A Wolf at the Schoolhouse Door says that throughout, both sides, Clinton and Obama especially. Clinton, Obama, they abandoned labor unions. They undermined the strength there, and we're paying for it now. Look at where we're at now. Look at where we're at now, right? They undermined this group of people. They discarded them, and a lot of that was tied to the fight to privatize public schools. So I wanted to freeze it here so you see the name of the book, Slaying Goliath. Joy says she already got a copy. The passionate resistance to privatization and the fight to save America's public schools. This is the reading and this is the engagement. Even if you don't read the book, but you just listen to me, this is the engagement that Darren Goss and others at CCF think that you don't have, that you haven't engaged with this issue. You haven't referenced certain scholarly sources on this issue. That's what don't discount me. Don't gaslight me. Okay? Mike, I got to pay you for that phrase. I got you. Ooh, I got you. Thank you, Honor. Let me play this. To privatize the American education system. Author Diane Ravitch.
I had too much caffeine
Thanks
today,
for being here.
Wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Such an important topic. So you feel like these efforts to privatize are the enemy of a good public education system, correct?
Absolutely, because what's happening is that President Trump, Betsy DeVos, the Walton family, which owns Walmart, and a long list of billionaires is intent on privatizing schools through vouchers and charters. And tonight you'll hear Trump call for vouchers.
In the State of the Union.
In the State of the Union address. And
so keep me honest in the chat. Meeting Street Academy, what's the technical label? Public-private charter? If someone can keep me honest in the chat, right?
And he and DeVos have kept up this drumbeat. DeVos this year will give $440 million of our federal taxpayer dollars to start new charter schools. And the Walton families will add another $200 million. And once they're started, the cost of them then is passed on to the public schools, so that the public schools have less money to spend, and they have almost all this.
Let me rewind it back, cause thought I broke my button. Hold on, let me rewind that back real quick. Select the please rewind. All right, that little bit she just said.
Families will add another $200 million, and once they're started, the cost of them then is passed on to the public schools, so that the public schools have less money to spend, and they have almost all the students.
Good point. Okay, if I'm a parent and I'm sitting at home saying, hey, I want some choice. I want to maybe send my child to a faith-based school. I want what they're offering at a charter school. What would you say to them about why that's not something they should be able to choose?
Well, I think people should be able to choose whatever they want. The question is, should it be paid for by the public?
Come on.
If you want your child to go to a religious school, that's your choice.
Yep.
But you should pay for it. If you say that the government should pay for your choice of a religious school, I disagree. The Supreme Court may soon decide that and wipe out the line between church and state.
They probably will.
That would be unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because one of the great things about America has been a universal free public education system.
That's right.
And sadly today, we are not investing in our children, and that's true all over this country.
There are obviously wealthier school districts and those that are really strapped, and as this money comes out in the form of vouchers or other things, then those school districts are even worse off than they are at this point. That's your concern, right? A spiraling down.
Well, my concern is that the amount of money available for public education is, think of it as one pie. The legislatures across this country are not increasing the size of the pie. They're simply dividing it up more, saying we'll set aside more money for charters. There's more segregation in charters.
Yes.
There is not better achievement in charters. And I would say to the parent who's considering a charter, this is your right, but be aware that if your child has disabilities, he or she may be refused. If your child is an English learner, he or she may be refused, and the charter may shut down in the middle of the year.
Can I ask another question? Keep me honest in the chat. So you know how Meeting Street likes to, put out Meeting Street Academy. They like to create those really gross photo ops where all the black kids are crowded around. The modern day slave masters. I'm sorry, that's my characterization, not y'all's, but that's mine. It's just to me, it looks like some old antebellum, like, I wish I were in the land of cotton. Like, you had these little black kids all around McMaster and Navarro. Are white parents, like, seeing how great Meeting Street kids schools are, and are they just rushing to put their kids in there? Because it looked like it's just segregated. It just looked like they've racialized poverty. They've racialized underperformance in schools. Like, are white parents and parents of privilege and affluence, are they rushing to send their kids to that type of school since it's such a great school, right? He only wants Title I schools, but yeah, okay. Okay, thank you. I just got in the chat. Okay. That's what I thought. All right, we're gonna go back to like some earlier Diane Ravage here, because again, this is from EPI. That's why I trusted it, because it's EPI clip, but it's an older clip, of course, but it gives you more understanding as to Diane's thought process and who she was. And thank you for the link. I'm gonna click on it after this clip plays on her. I just think that's weird though. Like, if you're going after these Title I schools, is it inevitable? Like, are they gonna try to bring in the white kids after Title II has all that extra federal funding? Title I, I got you. But I just want to know, like, why is it so? I get what a Title I school is. I get what Navarro's targeting, but I thought these schools were a model for, like, model education. Like, oh, this is like a bomb school of innovation. You should want to send your kid here. It's state of the art. It's all these things, but I'm not seeing that.
Right on time.
So this is from 2010.
Thank you very much.
Look at the graphics.
Well, I supported No Child Left Behind because it seemed like a good idea at the time, and as it happened, so did 90% of the Democrats in Congress and almost 90% of the Republicans in Congress. Who would want to leave any child behind?
Right.
So the promise of the legislation seemed...
To that point, she's talking about the promise, even the name, and like who dropped that early in the chat about branding, right? So they're getting away, and this is what Darren Goss also, let me be real about Darren Goss. Let me not just sit here with the, leave you with my disappointment and my vitriol about what he said, but also let me put the press literacy hat on. Because I don't know if you inadvertently meant this or not, right? Joy, when you made those distinctions, like I asked you to help me clarify what is Meeting Street Academy. You said public-private partnership, and then you saw that Darren took exception to the how people were internalizing the word private, right? To mean literal privatization. He says it's not literal privatization. Then you went on, Joy, you said that it would be now considered schools of innovation. So it's a rebranding. Now, why am I bringing it up at this clip right here? Because you just heard what she said. Who would want to leave a child behind? The other part of Darren making these press appearances is also to reframe it and be less than honest about. You can use whatever word you want: innovation, spectacular, special, dope. I don't schools of dopeness. You use whatever great words you want to describe it, right? I need to rip out my ad libs again and get better adjectives. But you can call it whatever you want. It's still public-private partnership. It's still school privatization, right? It's still taxpayers paying for some sort of privatization effort. But he him making appearances on making himself available to the media also serves that purpose. It's not just to reiterate what he's already said before CCSD or to the Post and Courier through the Education Lab propaganda, but it's also to help to kind of like get that language out there so you can get the right verbiage, the verbiage that he wants you to use. But we need to constantly call it what it is. That's why I call Mayor Riley a developer, because that's what he was. That's what he is. He's a developer. He's still out there developing shit. He's still out there toasting and cheersing it up, developing shit. You know, I think words have power, and No Child Left Behind. Definitely, like that part really it had promise, as she alluded to right here. Let me turn this up. I didn't know it was so low.
Very great. And many people continued to believe in it for a long time.
Right, Joy.
I stopped believing in it, and many of its original supporters still support it.
Exactly.
Getting comments from teachers and friends who were teachers and parents from around the country saying kids are being over-tested. Then I continued to hear from many people that things were dropping out of the curriculum, that there was less attention to history and to science. I noticed that student scores on the International Test of Science actually dropped for the 8th graders. But more importantly, I was at a conference at the American Enterprise Institute, which is a conservative think tank, and they were looking at the results of No Child Left Behind in 2006. And I expected the papers were going to be celebratory, and quite to the contrary, they were all saying it wasn't working. The choice provisions were not working, the children were not choosing to leave their school, and the tutoring provisions were not working. And listening to one account after another, by the end of the day, I had the task of summarizing, and I said NCLB is failing. That the following fall, which is 2007, the national test scores came out, the federally sponsored NAEP test scores came out, showing that there was very little progress. So I wrote an article at that time that in the New York Times saying get Congress out of the classroom, which fundamentally said No Child Left Behind is not working, and this we should go back to the drawing board. So when people say that I've made a dramatic U-turn, they haven't been reading what I've been writing over the past 3 years. This has been an evolutionary process, not an overnight bolt from the blue.
Yeah. No Child Left Behind for real. Was horrible. Yeah, I mean, listen. Okay, so what? Again, this is older. We know what we're living with the fallout from No Child Left Behind. So like that that happened. That was disastrous. But we're still dealing with it, and it also set forth a number of things that are starting to manifest now. Let me see this last question. What do you think it had? There's been the greatest harm the result in this policy. Okay, I'm gonna let her finish this last question. That last for me, I think.
I think that No Child Left Behind created a totally utopian, unrealistic expectation that by 2014, 100% of all children would be professional.
So much to learn from No Child Left Behind and its failure. Much like Mission Critical and its failure. So much to kind of still reflect on, even though, again, this is from 2010. This is over 11 years old, and we're not using No Child Left Behind like that. I'm sorry. Every time I say No Child Left Behind, I'm thinking of a 21 Savage song, No Op Left Behind. Sorry. Y'all know I love 21 Savage. But anyway, even though we're not using No Child Left Behind anymore, we're not using that phrase, a lot of what was initiated by that policy is still being felt right now, very much so.
Efficient, and that schools that were not able to meet an unrealistic goal would be punished. So it created a very punitive language around schooling that said that if you don't meet this utopian goal, your school will be closed, your teachers will be fired, everybody involved in the process is somehow tainted. And it has created a tremendous momentum for privatizing public education.
There you go.
So I think that all in all, we see, I think, a danger right to the heart of public education as something that we should be improving and not destroying.
Yeah, that was a really good place to dismount. Go ahead, girl. Over 10 years old, that clip, and it still ring bells. Let me get that link. Let me hop on that link real quick. That Hunter dropped in there. So this is Diane Ravish's website, dianeravish.net, a site to discuss better education for all. I somehow missed the story that appeared. Oh, this is recent. Oh, go ahead, go out here. She out there blogging. Okay. We got some stuff to read now. So we got the JSTER. Business Improvement Districts from that piece, that scholarly journal from, what is this, 2016 or 2015? I think this was 2015. 2015. We've got that. That's on the reading list. Slaying Goliath's on the reading list. And now she got the blog. I didn't know that. Thank you, Honor. Absolutely. I will be reading this, right? And it's pretty, yeah, she just, wow, today. Okay. We will be reading up. We will be reading their thoughts. Yeah, the thoughts there for sure. I also pulled up CCF's Public Schools of Innovation, what they are and what they are not. This is something I pulled up before. This is their propaganda, so they're just letting you know, right? According to our civic engagement agenda findings, more than 40% of residents in South Carolina over the age of 25 have a high school diploma or less. This level of education is linked to how low earning and risk of poverty and overall lower quality of life. All right, so it's linked to all that. I'm sure it is. And this is their propaganda, so I'm not reading this with my chest. As stated in the Coastal Community Foundation's policy agenda, we believe providing high quality public education to all children will help grow a vibrant communities and thriving local economies. I'm going to stop reading this propaganda, and I'm going to read from, let me pull it up. Sorry, Diane, we're not going to do that. All right. Yeah, we'll do this. Instead of just looking at CCF propaganda, we'll look at, not Amazon. Let's go to New Pro. Yeah. We'll just look at this while I read a little bit from this book real quick, and I'll read a little bit from what's here too on the website. Let me make it bigger for the viewing audience. Get out of here, ad. Get out of here. All right. So I'm gonna read a little bit real quick. Chat done froze on me. Let me see where we at. Right. Mikey T, you just dropped the prioritization of test scores over education was driving force. It really was. And even though I didn't have school, didn't have school age children at that time, that's exactly what I could glean from the headlines and from the news was how the emphasis on scores. If you watch The Wire, watch The Wire. Testing and what that really started to make it turn teachers into something else other than educators, other than the figures that we think that they should be. So I just want to read. This is from the introduction of this book, and it's just a little bit of the beginning of one paragraph called "The Battles to Come." A wolf is lurking at the door of America's public schools, prowling, biding its time, and waiting for the pack to assemble. Support for public education may be strong, but it's fragmented, variable, and voluntary. Shout out to all y'all education advocates who have poured out in the streets, who showed up and showed tremendous power and still show tremendous power, but it is voluntary and it can be fractured, right? Anyway, I just want to lift that up. All right, challenges familiar to any true grassroots affair. Those seeking to dismantle the system, meanwhile, are unified, patient, and well-resourced. Let me read it again. Those seeking to dismantle the system, the public education system, are unified, patient as fuck. They didn't say as fuck, but I added that, and well-resourced, okay? In the battles to come, supporters of public schools will need three kinds of knowledge. Okay, Darren? So I'm gonna do my part to make sure people get this three kinds of knowledge. In the battles to come, supporters of public schools will need three kinds of knowledge, and this book is organized accordingly. In the first section, and I want to read this. This is important because if you want to get this book, check it out. All right. So in the first section, we examine the dogma that underlies the dismantling agenda. Public consideration demands a clear presentation of aims and objectives, yet the drive to unmake public education has been masked. No transparency, has been masked by linguistic, oh my God, what is this word? Feints? Linguistic feints? Is that all about the jargon? And purposeful abstraction. Purposeful abstraction. That's what Darren was doing on the news yesterday. Purposeful abstraction, designed to hide the principles at its core, okay? in service of a reasoned debate and deliberation. Then we trace these ideas from their roots, clarifying the ideology at the heart of this movement. Second part of the book, I want to read this. I want to get through all this. It's not that much. Second part of this book, looks closely at the changes already in motion. Being broadly familiar with the animating spirit and aims of this movement is one thing. Knowing how it takes form in public policy and the law is another, right? Let me skip down to number 3. In the third and final section of this book, we explore possible futures. Perspective view is essential for evaluating present policy, as policy is inherently the work of future making. I want to read it again more smoothly. In the third and final section of this book, we explore possible futures. A perspective view is essential for evaluating present policy, as policy is inherently the work of future making. I wanted to read that for emphasis and because I wanted to read it smoothly. That's exactly what you have to have. Like Joel said this too. This shit is exhausting. This shit is demoralizing, and it's designed to be like that. Betsy DeVos has all the money in the world. She can wait this out. The Koch brothers can play the long game, right? CCF can play the long game. Navarro can play the long game. Zucker can play the long game. We can't. And your children are not in school, they're in school for finite, number of years, right? But what you need to do is please maintain a level of hope, not optimism, not toxic or like, kumbaya, Pollyannish like optimism, but you actually have to understand, that there is a way out. There is a blueprint, and I really hope that people understand that that no, this fight is not easy, and that some people give me a lot of feedback about how, oh, this place sucks, I'm moving, and I really been struggling with that kind of mindset lately. Not because I get it, like it does. I've contemplated moving many times since I've been back. But me as an activist or whatever you want to call me, it's really important that I understand that that there is hope. I can't show up every morning, Monday through Friday, if I didn't feel hope, if I didn't feel that there was a blueprint, if I didn't feel like there were people working along the same sidelines as I, like working from the same vantage point that I'm working from. And I really do hope that y'all understand that there are ideas that you can go out there, and people power is still real. Think about Hannah Raskin's piece about the barrel. Think about that piece about the barrel. People power is still real. It still exists. It's going to be hard. If you were under the illusion that this will be, maybe not as hard, not as long of a fight, I'm sorry to tell you that, like, you got to manage your expectations a little bit better than that. This is really tough work. And I think this book lets you know, oh my God, when they get into the 80s and 90s, I'm just like, it ain't just Reagan. Okay? It ain't just Reagan. Let me read the chat because I know I was whatever. Yeah, Joy, you said keep public schools public, period. I want to see the curriculum. I want to see the funding sources. Miss me with all that jargon. Miss me with all that gaslighting. I love how that's a phrase. I love y'all. Trademark by Mikey T NYC. Joy, you said it breaks your heart. It breaks your heart. How they see educators as disposable. Yeah, I never thought I'd see the day where they would talk the way they talk to educators, especially around the mask mandate, brouhaha stuff. Like, you really threatening a teacher for teaching about Rosa Parks? Like, and I'm bringing that up because that's exactly what they want. Like the right and the people who are fighting for privatization, they actually are watching that shit show that is Moms for Liberty and all those other Proud Boy and white supremacist adjacent groups. They're actually watching that, and that actually helps them. Because if you can continue to challenge and drive these teachers out of the workforce, they've already been driven out by shitty ass policies like here in South Carolina, shitty pay, shitty conditions, no COVID provisions, right? They've already been driven out for a myriad of reasons, especially in states like here where there's not that type of teachers union, like a Chicago or a Jersey or what have you, right? But the people who are fighting for privatization, they need the Moms for Liberty because it continues to turn teachers into adversaries, turn educators into adversaries, and weakens their position if they are, in fact, in public schools and trying to lead public schools. But we've seen this before. We've seen this all throughout Jim Crow. We've seen this after Jim Crow. We've seen this in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and now, right? Right. It's crazy how they did it. You said most countries hold educators in high esteem. And that's a part of what we got wrong in this country. Absolutely. Right. Honor, you dropped in the chat, Cradle to Career has a 2030 agenda. Damn. Well-resourced and way ahead. Yup. Who you saying is big mad? Let me see. You said, Joy, you said he's big mad and we are on his heels calling him out. Yeah. Oh, you talking about Mr. Goss. Yeah, Justin, you dropped in the chat. You've consistently strong. I've been consistently strong on this topic. Me? Oh, I hope so. I think cause you know bullshit. This is what I really want to tell people. Bullshit when you feel it. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. This is another Septima quote I just found accidentally. Trust your gut. You know what's wrong. This is the quote. I read this. This is a Septima Clark quote that I just wanted to just read, just leave here. I don't know. It just spoke to me this morning. I was looking for the other quote, and this one popped up in my little thing. It says, "The very health of our society depends upon constant, unfettered reappraisal of our human condition, of religion and the spiritual goals of life, of politics and our use of power, of economics and the responsibilities of wealth, of justice and its availability to all human relationships, and the search for that real peace, which is far more than the absence of war." I want to read that one more time. "The very health of our society depends upon constant, unfettered reappraisal of our human condition, of religion and the spiritual goals of life, of politics and our use of power, of economics and the responsibilities of wealth, of justice and its availability to all human relationships, and the search for that real peace, which is far more than the absence of war." Septima Clark. I just found that. I'm like, oh, universe, what you trying to say? I need to read this too? I was looking for this. And it's like, no, you need to read the other one too. Cause that kind of gave me chills this morning. I think I'm gonna take, Yeah, I don't do positions. Joy, you said you don't do positions. Oh, please drop that in. No. Petitions have usefulness. I don't either. I don't sign up for the bullshit ones. Sorry, not sorry left. Y'all need to chill with all these petitions about just the most everything on Twitter that goes fucking viral. I don't need a petition because I just don't need a petition for everything. Every time a microaggression occurs in somebody's classroom, I don't need a petition for that, right? But petitions, especially this one, which is locally focused and about a very important issue. And think about it, without the petition being an element of the fight, it would not have been newsworthy. And if you look at our local news landscape, they are very responsive. They look for, they mine for things that have data points, that have that are not just viral, but that are very successful. That if you get thousands, tens of thousands of signatures on a petition, look at Marcus's petition. Right, Marcus's petition to get Harry Griffin off. It didn't lead to an immediate ejection from that motherfucking seat. But what it did do is it harmed Harry politically. And if you can continue to pop holes in the gaslighting, if you can continue to poke holes in this narrative that CCF is hell bent on us, making permanent, just keep popping a hole in the narrative that they're trying to formulate. That's effective. Please, yeah, I'll hit it right here. That's effective. They have their place. I will say that. They have their place. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll amplify it as well. I'll continue to amplify it. Standards one started. Okay, I got you. You already broke down who's behind it, so I feel better about that too. But this is cool. Yeah. This is cool. I love it. Yeah. Information. Absolutely. Yeah. So just keep doing that. And they watching right now. They've watched earlier. There's a reason why also y'all, I know that some of y'all can't be as demonstrative in outlining what the issues might be. I know some of y'all can't afford to do that. But I just can't, just because it's just where I'm at right now in my life. And so I say all that to say, I say all that is, well, I'm trying to be a little more delicate. Like, it's important. It's important that we speak very plainly about this. Let me just land it there, because I think I was going somewhere else and I don't want to go. But I'll amplify this. Because when I was saying they were watching, they are watching this. They are tuning in. I'm being very explicit because I want them to understand that we are engaging with this topic in a meaningful way, that we're engaging a myriad of voices, that we are not just pulling shit out of our ass, that we are actually, looking for resources. I'm talking to my sister-in-law in Chicago, who's a huge public education school advocate, and she's a part of this huge collective. I haven't even yet brought that to you. When she gets a free work day, or maybe one of those days where you don't have to be in school, I'm going to ask her to please join me on Mic'd Up to talk about her work and what she's affiliated with and what she's fighting for. Y'all love her. I love her. We love her. So if you ever hear me talk about my sister, and I don't say sister-in-law, it's my sister-in-law, because I kind of don't see her as an in-law. She's super dope. But yeah, so we're going to keep talking about it. We're going to keep engaging voices who've been fighting this fight in other places that's got it crack-a-lacking, right? Especially in the new year. We're going to bring you more faces, because they're going to gaslight you here in Charleston, tell you, oh, no. You want pie in the sky. I'm going to tell you, no. This faction over here in Delaware is doing it, or this group over here in Alabama is doing it. We're going to continue to challenge them to tell us that this is all too lofty of a goal. So that's the goal for me. All right, I wanted to tie up some news roundup stuff. Oh God, I wanted to get here so bad. We were talking about when we were talking about the bids, because it's before Joel had confirmed to hop on this morning. Y'all, let me tell you something. I'm getting a new desk this weekend. I can't keep living like this. I can't. Oh yeah, y'all saw what this computer sits on every day. Y'all be like, bitch, bitch. Before Joel joined us, I dug back into my friend Katie Dudley. Shout out Katie, Katie and Phil over on the West Coast. And I pulled out her old dissertation about tourism. I interviewed her for Mic'd Up and talked about, I think there was a tourism conversation, an aspect of her work that actually, to me, it made an aspect of her work that made me, that came up, that I remembered when we're talking about bids and planning. And I think I might dismount with that. I got 20 minutes before I have to dip. But I wanted to go back to the last night's meeting and talk about the whole racial conciliation situation. Yeah, Joni, you ain't lying. Public education is. I loved my public education experience. I told y'all, like, we knew our teachers. Back in them days in the 1980s. I left school with my teacher. Like, we went on shopping trips with them. As long as we got our parents' express permission in writing. We would just, like, they would know us. there would be a relationship. I just loved public school early on. And then when I got down here, it was a whole, let me tell you something. Seeing your first Confederate flag on a pickup truck with a whip antenna, and like, that shit was jarring. Like, I remember even in 96 when I got here, I was like, what the fuck is this truck gonna just like bunch of like, anyway, I'm sorry, Joni, you just made me think about my public school experience. Let's get back to the racial conciliation and last night's city council meeting. Sorry about that, y'all. I can't wait to get a co-host like on a radio show that kind of like, yo, keep it in the road. Come on, hold it in the road, mate.
Happening now, Charleston leaders are meeting to discuss the future of a task force aimed at curbing racism. News 2's Katie Augustine tells us how tonight's meeting could make a big difference in the city's reputation across the country.
The goal of the proposed Racial Conciliation Commission is to take a stand against racism. The future of that task force is on the table tonight at Charleston City Council. Some city leaders say it's needed to repair ties between the Black community and the city.
We think that the city of Charleston by making this commission permanent, will be in the lead of many cities.
A special commission on equity, inclusion, and racial conciliation dissolved back in September. But some city leaders, including Councilman Dudley Gregory, want to bring it back permanently. After months of back and forth, the councilman is confident it will move forward.
I think we finally have a document that the majority.
Oh, they got the old Dudley. That's the Beijing Dudley right there. Shout out to the homie, A Boogie with the hoodie. My girl Amron in Brooklyn hit me up with like 10 text messages on bid districts. Oh my God.
Majority of council can approve.
The modified proposal now calls the group the Human Affairs and Racial Conciliation Commission. If created, members would work to address racism in the city of Charleston.
We're going to be proactive to try to find solutions on how we may be able to take care of some of the vestiges of Jim Crow and slavery in the city of Charleston.
Charleston Mayor John Tecklenburg says given the city's history, a commission would be a good step forward.
It's a continuing effort in our city, particularly one with the history that we have here in Charleston, to be as fair and respectful as we can.
In Charleston, I'm Katie Augustine. Count on 2.
Do y'all think if I showed up, y'all think if I showed up with like a fleece or a sweater vest that people would take me more seriously? I'm noticing a trend. I think
happening now, Charleston leader.
I think credibility has a dress code. Credibility in Charleston has a dress code. I really believe that. Oh my God. I firmly believe this. I'm gonna do this. Jesus, my friend just hit me up. I think I might do a special video podcast on bids. Am I good with editing? I don't know. I just got inundated with so much great information. Yo, get you a friend. Get you a friend that is studying city planning in a really good city planning program. Either it's at the New School or Pratt. Get you a friend. Yeah, I think so. Oh my God. When I tell you, and I knew who to text to, cause she on it. Let me see if I can find the most important ones. Oh yeah. Independent. Independent. Okay. Oh yeah. All right, bye, Wolfie. Okay, this is one article she sent me. Ooh, like Josh said, you could do a cursory Google search, but I wanted to engage a planning student of mine, a friend of mine, who helped us compile the TIF districts research that really, can I tell y'all something if I haven't made this abundantly clear? When Friends of Gadsden Creek, let me go back to their Instagram. I got 15 minutes. When Friends of Gadsden Creek posted, why I do that? I don't know why I do I put FOGC. All right, when we post, I'm gonna go back. This is a throwback. When we posted, oh man, this is a minute ago. And shout out to Seb. Seb was out there fending off shit, like in the comment section. Was it this one? Something that got a lot of comments. Oh, that might no. Whoa, let me see. Oh, right here. What is a TIF? Yeah. Right? This pissed people off, right? And this was informed by, this is all related, y'all. This all was informed by what the clique, like my friend A Boogie with the hoodie, Amron, and her friends at Pratt, her student. And I love how like Amron, she didn't stop just here. She's using so much of what's going on in Charleston to like do things like she's using what's going on as case studies for like her dissertation and her other like high level scholarly work. And that's what the Pratt students did here, right? Is that they're like, oh, we can use Charleston as a case study for their work. So we're benefiting from having their expertise. And I know I'm just like, exhausting y'all with this whole TIF stuff, right? Let me go to our favorite slide that, I mean, because I gotta, this it. This might be the other one. Might be the other presentation. This one, Horizon Tip. Yeah, this one. Boom, bow, right there. Right there. This right here. So when the Pratt students told us that, hey, you know, they're taking a lot from education, the city's taking a lot. Like back in 2017? Excuse me. 2018, you was taking $250,000. Then you end up taking over $1 million to fund projects like West Edge, to fund development projects, right? So when we started kind of like peeling back the layers on this shit, motherfuckers was mad. Like, and it'd be, let me, just because y'all, because, hey, look at this before I really knew Tom. What up? And just because they posted publicly, so it's public, as Evelyn always reminds me. If it's public, it's public. There was some pushback from, let me see, Alan. What's that Alan dude? Alan right here. Alan, I guess he's a local engineer. It's private, so whatever. But he commented publicly, this is an unfortunate mischaracterization of how TIFs work. It is not a diversion of funds from essential community services. Now, it could be designed not to be that, but that's exactly what they did. It's exactly what they did. Why am I bringing this up? I'm not trying to even, I'm not trying to single out Alan. I'm just trying to single out, like, when you start hitting a nerve, you know it, especially within the city and its power brokers, right? Now, let me bring it back to the piece I just pulled up. When you start talking about, the bids and what it could portend, you know what I mean? They start squawking up and saying, no, you got it wrong. You don't have it wrong. You don't have it wrong. We could just look at all these other metropolitan areas that have where this bears out. So this is from 2017, Jess Rubin, right? Queens activists block controversial business improvement district. This is in Queens, right? So it says a 4-year battle to prevent a controversial business improvement district from being established along the main commercial corridor in the immigrant communities of Jackson Heights and Corona, Queens, all right? Ended recently in a victory for neighborhood activists who had warned the project would accelerate gentrification in Western Queens. So I'm gonna do a special. I'll probably do like a video podcast of this. I'm gonna get my shit together, and I'm going to try to record myself and lift up. It's hard to do. What I'm trying to figure out now is how to lift up certain things I'm reading and pull them up on screen for a visual podcast experience. I'm trying to figure out how to do that, but I will be lifting up all of the resources that just came in to my phone just now from my friend A Boogie Amarin. Yeah, we'll talk about that, and maybe we'll just talk later about this whole this episode of Mic'd Up that I did at the beginning of the pandemic back in 2020. Yep. So we'll talk about that back when I was still creating content for OHM. That they didn't want to promote. So, yeah. I always talk shit. I had some other stuff. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to leave it there. I know it's the holidays. Thank you for watching. Let me just say, let me say this. I did this yesterday. I should have did this earlier, but let's see if I can knock down shit. Hold up. All right, real quick before I dip, I want to say thank you. Let me switch up. I know y'all got to go to, I know it's the holiday. Yeah, it's the holidays. Oh, I'm out of focus. It's the holidays and all that other stuff. I want to say thank you to those who have supported the fundraiser. Thank you to those who have, I just got one notification just a moment ago. Thank you so much for supporting. This is actual, I held this up yesterday. This is the actual, the blank for if you've ordered an emerald green hoodie. The size availability has been hampered by supply chain issues. We're keeping an eye on quantities because because McKinsey and them, not me, they got the plug. They got the plug. But this is the shirt. It's great quality. This is a Champion hoodie, and as pointed out yesterday, no, the t-shirts are not Champion. The t-shirts are Bella Canvas. The hoodies are Champion. Very, very high quality Champion hoodie, so you ain't gonna get no bullshit. All right, thank you so much. The support has been phenomenal. Thank y'all for tuning in last night. A lot of people tuned in. I was on live for 3 hours and 20 minutes. Y'all sat with me even when I had to get up and tend to family business. I appreciate you. Tomorrow will be the last live stream morning mic'd up of the week. I'm gonna let y'all enjoy y'all holiday and all that other stuff. But I'm gonna coming back. Christmas is Saturday. I'm gonna be coming back on Monday. Hopefully you're there if you're enjoying a hiatus from either work or whatever. If you're not a teacher or whatever. If you don't have it off, you can join me on Monday. We're gonna keep this conversation going. And it's been a great week. Y'all have been super supportive. And we definitely got to finish up the fundraiser next week. So definitely I'll be live and try to get over that hump. We're almost there. Get over that hump that that self-imposed goal that I have of selling 100 hoodies, 100 pieces. I think I'm almost there. So yeah, I love that color. Y'all love that color too. It's a great green. When I saw it, when I think Mackenzie suggested it, and I was like, ooh, that popped. And so a lot of the other choices we were trying to come up with, there wasn't enough availability. Like we're looking at okay, they only have 100 of this color. We don't want to gamble, right? So we just did the best we could, being very transparent. And I'll be transparent about where we're at in terms of totals and whatnot. I'll share that next week. Y'all have been awesome. Take care of yourself. See you tomorrow. And then go ahead and enjoy your Kwanzaa, your Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is. Go ahead and knock it out. All right. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Bye.